I actually have handwritten notes for this video. I think that is the most dedicated I have ever been to a video before. Usually I barely even have the motivation to make a video, let alone actually handwrite out some notes to talk about. Wow. Hello everyone, it is Katie here from the Queen of Teen Fiction, and in case you didn't already know, in case you've been asleep for the past couple of days, Shadowhunters has finally aired. The first episode is out there in the world. So the episode aired on Tuesday night on Freeform. I couldn't see it until the day after when it aired on Netflix. First of all, I just have to point out how awesome it is that Netflix have bought the rights to the show, giving us international fans a way to view the episode and actually add to the ratings. We don't have to go searching for dodgy links online. I'm just so happy about that, and I think it's a fantastic idea. So I watched the episode on Wednesday, and then after that I found out that the second episode had been aired on the Freeform app. Obviously I couldn't resist, so I watched that as well. And I didn't really want to talk about the second episode in this video, but then after watching the second episode I thought that was better than the first one. So I am going to discuss both of them, but if you haven't seen the second episode, then I will let you know when I'm about to talk about that one, so that you don't have to watch that part of the video. So before the episode aired, there had been a few reviews out by a couple of the fan sites, and I have to say the first few reviews that I read did not sound good. I mean, they all said that the show had potential, but they didn't seem to really enjoy it. So I was very worried going into the first episode, because like I said, I feel like this is our last chance to get an adaptation for a good while. No one is going to take this on again. So I was very worried, but I went into the episode open-minded, and I am going to start by saying that I actually really liked the first episode. I mean, obviously I had problems I will be talking about later, but I just wanted to let you all know that this is going to be a more positive reaction to it, because surprisingly I really did enjoy it. I mean, when this show was first announced way back in April, I think it was, I'll be the first to admit that I was furious. I didn't want a TV show at all. I thought they should just leave it. But then as the casting happened and we got a wonderfully diverse cast, that started to change my opinion. And then the more promotion they did for the show and I got to see the dynamics between the cast, it really did change how I felt about the show, to the point where I was really excited about it. So I am glad that I enjoyed the episode. So let's start talking about episode 1. So I'm not actually going to do a recap of the episode, because I'm assuming that all of you here have watched the episode. We don't need to go over it step by step. And also I'm discussing 2 episodes, so I really don't want this video to be exceptionally long. So I'm just going to jump straight in and start talking about the things that I liked about the episode and what I didn't. First things first, I'd like to talk about my favourite aspect of the episode, what I liked the most, and that is the characters. I have mentioned before in my previous videos that the portrayal of the characters meant more to me than staying exactly faithful to the plot. You know, I knew and accepted that there would be changes from the plot in the books, but what mattered to me is that the characters I knew and loved from the books were accurately portrayed on screen, and I felt like I mostly got that from the first episode. Let's start with Jace and Clary. I think Kat as Clary is already 10 times better than Lily Collins was as Clary in the movie, only because in the movie I felt like I didn't connect with Clary at all, whereas I think Kat's version of Clary is definitely more accurate to the books. When I went online after the episode, I saw quite a lot of negative comments about Kat being annoying as Clary and that she was too whiny, and I definitely felt like that was kind of unfair, because Clary in the first book is quite whiny, so I thought it was quite accurate. Also, another complaint that I saw a lot of was that Clary's hair was too orange. Can I just point to the poster behind me, which I know is blurry because it's not in focus, but the model on the cover of the books has brighter hair than Clary does in the show. No one seemed to have any problems with that. It's supposed to be a more orangey colour. I mean, in the movie you couldn't even tell that she had red hair. So I don't get how that's such a big complaint. Dominic Sherwood as Jace I really adored. Again, he's another person that people have been quite negative about, saying that he couldn't deliver Jace's lines and that his acting was so-so. I couldn't see that at all. I thought he was really great as Jace. I like his sarcastic lines that he delivered, and I do think that the sarcasm and his arrogance from the books was shown in the show. I mean, we've got to remember that it is still the first episode and we've got a lot more of that to come, but I think it definitely gave a good insight into Jace. And then moving on to the rest of the characters, I think everybody else was better. I know Jace and Clary are the lead characters, but the other characters in the show just completely shone through. And the Lightwoods, we have to talk about the Lightwoods, because the movie just lacked an accurate portrayal of the Lightwoods so badly. Movie Izzy was quite stiff and serious all the time, and movie Alec, I mean, let's not even go there. We don't need to go there. In the show, they were just so much more accurate. Izzy was really fun, and she really showed how much she loved her brother. We got to see that sibling bond that the movie definitely lacked. The comments online about her have been that she's more, I don't even want to say this, but people are saying that she's more slutty. I don't agree with that at all. I think Isabel in the books, she was the sexy and confident Isabel that we saw on screen. She did use that to her advantage, so I don't see why there are people complaining about that. The way Izzy dresses in the show is how I pictured her dressing in the books. I think Emerald is fabulous. She just plays Izzy so well, in my opinion. Now moving on to her brother, Alec. Like I've said before, he is one of my favourite characters. But in the first book, in City of Bones, I really didn't like him at all because he's so bitchy. And I think that Matthew Daddario played that perfectly in the first episode. But the thing is, because he's being played with Matthew Daddario, I don't hate Alec in the show at all. Like I did in the books. I have no dislike for him whatsoever because he's just so fabulous. He's definitely more snarky, and I think the show shows his bond with Jace a lot more. And I love his relationship with Izzy. They've just got such a strong sibling relationship, and they show that from the very start. So I really loved the Lightwoods. Simon was just perfect. I think no one can find any faults with Alberto playing Simon whatsoever. Even the people that saw the show negatively, I think most people are in agreement that Alberto is perfect. He took Simon straight out of the books and played him perfectly on screen. And that doesn't surprise me because I know Alberto is the cast member that has read all the books and genuinely loves this story and his character. We didn't really get to see that much of Magnus, but already from what I am seeing, I am loving. Refer to my notes. I feel so bad because I'm actually using a journal that was released as merchandise for the movie to write my notes in about the TV show. Oops. The first thing that I really loved about the first episode was Luke. Everything about Luke. First of all, I thought Isaiah played him brilliantly. Secondly, I actually really like the fact that he is a cop. When they first said that he was going to be a cop in the show, I wasn't quite sure how I felt about it, but now I really like the idea. I think it makes a lot of sense. Him being in the police, he can keep an eye on crimes that might not be mundane crimes, and I really like seeing Luke as that cop type of character. So that was one change that I was really quite happy about. Another change that I actually really liked, but I don't think that many other people did, is the Institute. It's still the old Gothic church that we see in the books, but it's being modernised a lot. It's a very technological hub. They have all the latest technology to track down their missions, and it's also bustling with people. There are a lot more Shadowhunters there, and I know that a lot of people didn't like that, but I really did. I felt like it needed to be done. As much as I like the Institute in the books being this gorgeous Gothic church, and it's just the Lightwoods and Hodge being there, I don't think that showed well in the movie. It definitely felt a bit lacking. So I think changing it to a more modern institute and having more Shadowhunters there was a good idea. It looked a lot more visually exciting as well. So the start of the episode focuses a lot on the friendship between Clary and Simon, and I definitely thought it was an accurate portrayal of their friendship. What I also really loved was that we got to see Simon singing, and a few people have pointed out that he was singing Forever Young, which can definitely be taken as a bit of foreshadowing, you know, for the immortal vampire stuff that comes later. I feel like this video is a complete mess. I'm just listing off the things that I enjoyed. I can't form a proper review right now. Oh, definitely what else I liked is the bond between Clary and Izzy. I mean, it's not really a close bond as such because they've only just met each other in this first episode, but I like that Izzy is really quite welcoming to Clary. I think it shows a lot of girl power. I can't wait to see their friendship develop over this series. Okay, so let's talk about the things that I wasn't too keen on. First of all, the relationship between Jace and Clary. I'm still not too keen on that. I felt like that was definitely the cheesy part of the show. So I would like to see that improve over the series because I'm still not too sure on that. What else didn't really work for me was the scenes between Clary and Jocelyn. Didn't find them as believable as I wanted them to be. The scenes where Clary comes home after the pandemonium scene and asks her mum if she's going crazy and stuff. I felt like that whole scene just didn't really work, especially with Jocelyn sending Clary off to Luke. We saw a tiny bit of that scene in some of the trailers, and I didn't like it in the trailers. Didn't really like it in the show either. But with it being the pilot episode, you know, there's a lot to get through and there's a lot to explain, so I can see why it was kind of rushed and done quickly. What I also wasn't too keen on was the flashback to when Jocelyn took Clary to see Magnus to have her memories wiped. I mean, I understand why that scene was included, and I like that it was included because it explains what's happening basically. So it was needed, but I don't know whether I really enjoyed watching it. I felt like that was a bit cheesy and out of place as well. So they were really the only negatives that I took away from the show. It wasn't negative in a way that I hated it, I just think it was things that could have been improved. Like I said, we have to remember that it is a pilot. There are very few pilots that run perfectly smooth. Oh, one of the things I liked, and I forgot to mention before, Valentine. We finally have a proper Valentine who wears a suit and is intimidating, who doesn't have pirate braids. So I'm excited to see more of him. So yeah, they are what I liked and didn't like about the first episode. So what I'm going to do is really quickly talk about the second episode as well. If you haven't seen that episode yet and you won't be seeing it until next week, then please feel free to stop this video now. Straight away, I definitely thought that episode 2 was better than the first one. Firstly, because I feel like it included a lot more lines from the books. We had the "I'm not little girl" line from Clary, and we had Jace when he went into the City of Bones saying the thing that we all wanted him to say in the movie and didn't say, "Looking better in black than the widows of our enemies." I don't know why, I just love that line so much. So I'm so happy that it was included in the show, finally. Also, we got to see a lot more of each of the characters and get a better feel for them. We had Isabel being famous for her bad cooking. They've actually included that in the show. And we also had some of the scenes between her and Simon, where she is literally just viewing Simon like a little toy to play with whilst he's there. That's exactly what I wanted. Also, we get a lot more of Alec and his sassy remarks to Clary. I'm just being so sassy in general. I love TV show Alec so much. He's so perfect. Something I adore, we finally got introduced to Hodge. First of all, people are still complaining about Hodge's age, saying that he is far too young. Can we please just remember that Cassandra Clare actually told us that he was 36. Yeah, at least I think he was 36, but he's around that age. The movie aged him up. It was the movie that made him an old man. Hodge in the books is actually not an old man. So when I see people complaining that the show didn't get Hodge accurate and that they've got him way too young, I get so mad because they haven't. He was always the youngest member of the circle. Okay, so yeah, I don't want to see any more comments about that. But we only see a quick glimpse into Hodge in episode 2. But what we saw, I loved. Mostly because of the rune on his neck. It's like a red circle that's included on his neck, and every time he mentions the circle and Valentine, it burns. And so when he's trying to explain things to Clary, he's just in so much pain. And I absolutely adored that scene because it just shows the cruelty of the clave. I mean, so far in the show, we haven't really been told too much about the clave. So for non-readers, it's their first insight into what the clave is capable of. So I loved everything about that scene and I was really happy with that. I am excited to see more of Hodge as well. Again, in episode 2, Simon is perfect. There's just nothing you can fault about Simon. So I also really liked the City of Bones scenes. It was a lot quicker than it was in the movie. And personally, I think the Silent Brothers were done a bit better. I wasn't too keen on them in the film. And I know they look the same in the show as they did in the film. But I think the voices are slightly different. Because in the film, I felt like whenever a Silent Brother spoke, it was actually quite cheesy, whereas it didn't feel that way in the show, so I'm happy about that. And also, after that scene, we got Raphael kidnapping Simon. We finally got Raphael, and we've only seen like a few seconds of him, but already I love him. Here's the Raphael that we deserve. So I know that whole scene, that's not how it plays out in the books, but I'm alright with that. Obviously it's a TV show, there's 40 minutes to fill each week. Events are going to play out differently. And judging by the titles of the next few episodes and the promotional pictures we've been seeing, I think the third episode is going to be the Hotel de Mort scenes where they save Simon from Raphael. And then I think the fourth episode is going to be Magnus's party. So it's kind of switched those scenes around, but I don't really mind as long as we're still getting the same information that we do in the books, which I think we are. But yeah, I really like Raphael. Poor Simon. kidnapped already. We're only 2 episodes in. There were still a few little things that I wasn't too sure about in episode 2. As much as I really am loving Valentine at the moment, I didn't really like the scenes between him and Dot. Dot is, of course, a different version of Madame Dorothea. I don't know why they didn't really work for me, but I wasn't too sure on them. Another thing was Clary's necklace. It seems to show her visions of her mum, and Dot shows her where they are. Not too sure how I feel about that. It seems a bit random, and it kind of looked quite cheesy when she suddenly gasps and clutches her necklace. I don't want to say this, but it kind of reminded me of That's So Raven. Whenever Raven used to get a vision and she'd just stop, like, I felt like Clary did that with the necklace a little bit, so I don't know if I like that. I don't think that necklace is necessary right now, but maybe it holds bigger meaning down the line. I don't know. But right now, I'd rather it wasn't there. The only other thing that I wasn't too sure about in the second episode was Clary finding out at the end that Valentine is her father. Instead of seeing the name Bane in the City of Bones when she's trying to recover her memories, she actually finds out that Valentine is her dad. And I don't know why we're getting that information now. Maybe it will work out better further down the line in the show. I don't know. It's definitely made me more curious as well to see how they're going to play out the whole Jace and Clary brother and sister thing. I'm wondering if they're going to do what they did with the film and have the audience know that they're not related but have them think they are. I don't know. But it is definitely a little bit different having Clary finding out now. But overall, like I said, I really enjoyed the second episode. And I do think it was better than the first one, just because I think things went more smoothly and the characters, they all shone through better because they had a bit more time. They weren't explaining everything really quickly this time around, so there was no need to rush. So I've thoroughly enjoyed the first 2 episodes, and I'm definitely excited for the rest of the series. There's so much more we haven't seen yet. What I would say though is, don't judge the show just by its pilot. Give it a few weeks and then decide whether you like it or not. It takes a while for a new show to find its feet. But anyway, I think it's a positive start. I hope you did too. As always, please let me know your thoughts and feelings in the comments. Even if you didn't like it, please tell me why. If you did like it, what was your favourite part? Also, what are you excited for in the future of the show? What are you desperate to see? I know what I'm really looking forward to. You probably know what I'm really looking forward to because you already know that I am 100% Alec trash. Episode 4 is going to be exciting. Also, I'm probably not going to make a video every week after every single episode, only because that's a big commitment and I'm not good with commitments. I will do discussion videos every couple of weeks though, because I want to keep talking about it and I want to see how the show goes on. I think my next discussion video will probably be after the 4th episode, and I'll discuss episodes 3 and 4, mostly 4, if it really is Magnus's party. So anyway, that is it from me. Thank you for watching this video. I will see you next time. Bye!